Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I avidly promote the full realization of your femininity. I believe that being feminine is a way of life, and at times a very pleasurable discipline. I'd like to think that those who follow me also hold these beliefs and hold the feminine life in high regard. However, there is a far larger group of women who have demoted femininity and its practices to a disposable trend that has no long-term or meaningful lessons. This is what I like to call the cult of the pseudo-femininity gurus or coaches. I want to be naive and assume that the intentions of these women were good from the beginning. But what I'm witnessing at this point is kind of femininity as a subject reductive and redundant. If you'll allow me to be callous for a minute, most of these women, in my opinion, are spewing this pseudo-spiritual crap in exchange for money. Or they just have superiority complexes at this point. And I don't want to get into the weeds of hating capitalism or anything here, but I will surrender that the goal for many of these women is to make money, along with the inflation of their ego through exposure on social media being the root of the problem. It is my general understanding of human behavior that I find a lack of substance where money or fame is the ultimate goal. I find everything that these women do contrived, and in addition to being completely reliant on tired cliches. The subject of this video also kind of hovers near a much broader subject and issue around social media, and I'll make a small but crucial epilogue for it. But this video mostly deals with how perturbed I am with the very, very misguided approach to femininity. For a long time, since our ancient sisters, I would say that femininity has been slowly approaching a derelict condition, and we should address it and reject it, at least those of you that concur. I will not explain my views on femininity in this video because I've already made a separate video about it. And if you'd like to watch that first and understand the root of my irritation, then here it is. Here. I would define this group of women, the pseudo-femininity gurus and coaches and those that eat that shit up, as a cult, or as culty. Now let's look up the definition for cult, because there are a few and they vary in severity. A cult is 1. A system of religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. 2. A relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. And 3. A misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. In regards to the femininity gurus or coaches, I would definitely choose the third definition as being the most appropriate. The girls and women that are regularly consuming media from this kind of cult, like many followers of cults, are admiring and taking advice and guidance from normal people who are just glorified. Cult leaders, almost 99% of the time, are very, very hollow beneath the facade. And they are literally the personification of empty promises. The meat behind what they preach is seldom present. I do not for one moment believe that most of these gurus and coaches have any real valuable input outside of them being feminine and attractive oftentimes. And as a devotee to beauty, I'm here to tell you there is much instinctual trust, blind trust in good looks. And just because these women have glistening skin and warm, wide smiles does not mean that you should take anything they say seriously. It does not mean that they know a thing about true femininity. It does not mean that they're worth listening to. Now, what exactly is it about these women that I do not like? Let me be explicit. From my observation, there are two sides to this cult. There is side 1, which is what I will call the high-value woman camp, or sect, I guess you could say. And then there's side 2, which is what I like to call the bedridden camp. The high-value woman camp uses femininity as a tool to obtain a high-value man. The bedridden camp uses femininity as an excuse for laziness and negligence. To be fair, I will offer one redeeming quality to this cult in both of its sides. I do believe that in small doses, some of the advice from these women can promote self-improvement and health. But that's pretty much all I have to give here. Now I'm going to explain what bothers me about each individual camp. For the high-value woman camp, I do not like how it's focused mainly on getting a man, getting a high value man. And through that, very often they are reinforcing very restrictive gender roles. Guys, we don't need to do this anymore, okay? Being feminine means being complex. It means being individualistic. We are so much more than that. This camp often reduces feminine energy and feminine life to physical traits, mannerisms, a way of dressing. And those things are all important. I talk about theater and femininity all the time. But everything that they do is very contrived, like I said before. And there's very much a mold to fit in here. My biggest gripe with this camp is that it ironically mistakes passivity as an active principle. I've talked about this in another video of mine before. These women and what they preach is not passivity, because everything that they're doing is to get something, to get a man. That is an active method. There is no receiving going on here, but there is a hell of a lot of seeking that I see there. When it comes to social media, this kind of woman that is promoting this, what they want you to be, resembles a lot the that girl influencer when it comes to like having your life together, financial stability, maintaining your beauty and your health, radiating positive energy and independence. It's just tired, cliche, it's boring, it's cookie cutter. What about being creative and adventurous and unpredictable? What about working on your personality and your interests and things that you like to do outside of getting something? I don't see a lot of that at all. I see just trying to take certain steps to get what you desire. All this camp or sect does is use, keyword being use, an active method, femininity as a tool to get a man. That is pretty much as shallow as you can make femininity. And it's disrespectful. And I think both of these camps are in their own way. Now, as far as the bedridden camp goes, what I don't like about this camp is that there's all of this confidence going on and all of this hyping each other up, and there's no merit. There's no working on the self, even though all they do is talk about self-improvement and healing and all that. There's none of the soul searching that they're talking about. A lot of these women seem exceptionally shallow and egotistical, and at times maybe even narcissistic. And it seems like they think that women deserve everything without the work because it's just so taxing to be a woman in a man's world. I see a lot of talk about self-healing, but not a lot about how to do that besides like lighting incense and wearing face masks, or like staying away from people and kind of like hiding in your home, in your bedroom, which is why I call it like the bedridden camp. I have to say, ladies, the solution to your problem isn't in the incense or necessarily staying away from men or people in general. You can't seek refuge in your bedroom and staying away from people forever. You have to actually go out into the world and face situations that make you uncomfortable so that you're able to grow. There is growth out in the world and being actively in it, but also in solitude. Balance, ladies, balance. My biggest gripe with this camp is that they conflate passivity with inertia, which is kind of like the complete opposite of the other camp. For this camp, solitude equals laziness and scrolling through your phone in a face mask because self-care, flaking on plans and watching that Netflix series for a third time in a row because social anxiety and self-care. Also, I'm not a big fan of these little spiritual details that they like to add, like the tarot and crystals and the zodiac and all that. It just makes it worse. A lot of women will probably counter me with an argument similar to the sad girl theory that I discussed in another video, that women deserve to be selfish and lazy because they have been expected for their whole existence to suffer and compromise at the feet of men. And I will maintain that I believe it is your choice to do that. If you want to do that. But I do hope that you learn that being a self-important recluse does not get you very far. And I hope you find a better way. I just really, really do not like how these kinds of women play off of the importance of solitude and turn it into something far less profound or nurturing. I would definitely argue that the lockdowns really added to this appeal to kind of sitting and doing nothing in your bedroom for months, which I think lockdown for me was wonderful, but I wasn't just sitting around. Like, I was using the lockdown as a way to catch up on things in my life. But I feel like a lot of people really just like loved to just laze around and like sit on the couch and like not have to go to work. And like, that's cool for like a week, but the essence of solitude has really been lost, I think, in this camp. And this camp really just reduces solitude to laziness and negligence. It bothers me. Now, lastly, there's an issue that I kind of see around both of these camps combined, and it is this kind of undeserved self-reverence. I see a lot of videos, a lot of the key points to these classes, I guess you could call them, is knowing your self-worth, treating yourself, accepting gifts, knowing your value, and that you should leave a man if he doesn't understand your value, or that he does the bare minimum, and that's totally true. I mean, if he's a piece of shit, kick him to the curb. But I also see this entering very dangerous territory where women completely forget about their own flaws and their own journey, but they are willing to discard a man at the first sign of trouble. Everyone needs to work on themselves. And an inflated sense of self is not equivalent to overcoming your insecurity. Now, here is where I'd like to conclude with my thoughts about social media and our current cultural condition. The algorithms of social media apps, especially TikTok and Twitter, are practically designed for these baseless and shallow interpretations of any subject. Social media, in my opinion, is to blame for these kind of culty micro trends and general bad behavior. From the amount of time and characters allotted in a post to the auto refresh or scroll, these women have a boundless subject to tackle in a very short amount of time with an audience that has a even shorter attention span. Trends on these apps overturn in as little as weeks or months. Everything is moving at an incomprehensible speed. Becoming a woman and understanding femininity takes a very long time. It takes accumulation of experience, and it's not a subject suited for the absurdly short time frame of social media trends. Femininity and womanhood needs to be digested over time. There is no get-rich-quick energy here, like TikTok will have you thirsting for. Everything on TikTok especially is just designed to assume a cult disposition, especially TikTok. Twitter can be like this, Tumblr can be like this, but not nearly with the veracity of TikTok. TikTok is a cancer, okay? I hate TikTok so much. Last thing to note about social media is that we never really know those influencers. We have come to understand this about celebrities, but we have the memory of a goldfish when it comes to social media influencers for some reason. You don't know what any of these women are like in real life, and in this case, if they practice what they preach. If you want to be independent, if you want to be more feminine, do your research. Then see what application works for you, instead of fitting the bill. If you would like to hear my interpretation of femininity from my research, then the video is also going to be suggested at the end of this video. I'm also here to say that I don't have all the answers. I'm still figuring it out. I am not complete. I'm not a master. I'm not here to give you a course on all this crap. So let's all go on this journey together as women. My channel is basically me just reporting what I find interesting, what my findings are, and trying to say them eloquently and put them together in a complete thought. So go on this journey with me, you know? I'm not standing above you on a pedestal. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know how you feel about femininity gurus and coaches and this whole thing. I feel like this has been going on for a few years now, especially on YouTube. I mean, like, there's literally women who are making money off of like master courses on this kind of thing, which just, it reminds me instantly of like those green goddess girls that used to make like tons of money on these classes about like spirituality and like getting people to pay money to go on these like retreats and stuff. Like, I remember that being a huge controversial topic on YouTube, and these influencers were getting in a lot of trouble because they were charging a lot of money for basically nothing. And I feel like what a lot of these women are talking about is like almost like self-explanatory stuff, and people just eat it up. They just love to hear it. And like, if you're gonna get into femininity, you should know, like, it's a really interesting topic. It's absolutely fascinating, and you should want to like learn about that. You know? Anyway, please like, please subscribe, tell your friends, comment, of course. share, and I will see you guys next week.